Around that time, Taylor experienced a relationship that faced obstacles from outside influences. Like many young people, she discovered that relationships are rarely shaped only by the feelings of two individuals. Family opinions, expectations, and different perspectives can all become part of the journey. Those emotions stayed with her long after the conversations had ended. Rather than allowing disappointment to remain only a memory, Taylor did what she had done many times before. She reached for her guitar and started writing. Songwriting became a way to organize her thoughts and express emotions that were difficult to explain through ordinary conversation. As ideas began to flow, she searched for a story that could represent those feelings in a timeless way. Instead of describing events exactly as they happened, she chose to use one of literature's most recognizable love stories as inspiration. The classic tale of Romeo and Juliet offered a familiar foundation, but Taylor wanted to reshape it into something different. Instead of focusing on tragedy, she imagined what could happen if the story had a happier ending. What if two people could overcome the challenges standing between them? What if love could triumph over misunderstanding rather than be defeated by it? These questions became the emotional center of the song. This creative decision transformed the project from a personal diary entry into something much broader. Listeners didn't need to know every detail of Taylor's own experiences. Instead, they could connect with the universal idea of wanting love to survive difficult circumstances. As the lyrics developed, Taylor carefully balanced modern emotions with imagery inspired by classic romance. Castles, gardens, and secret meetings created a fairy tale atmosphere, while the emotional struggles remained relatable to contemporary audiences. This blend of fantasy and reality helped make the song memorable from the very beginning. One of Taylor's greatest strengths has always been her ability to tell stories through music. Rather than simply describing feelings, she paints scenes that allow listeners to imagine themselves inside the narrative. Every verse moves the story forward, creating a cinematic experience that unfolds from beginning to end. When she reached the chorus, the message became clear. Hope would become the song's defining emotion. Even when obstacles appeared overwhelming, the possibility of a happy ending remained alive. That hopeful perspective separated love story from many traditional romantic tales. The songwriting process itself happened remarkably quickly. Once the central idea was established, the lyrics seemed to fall into place naturally. Many successful songwriters describe moments when creativity feels effortless, and this became one of those rare occasions. Taylor later reflected on how satisfying it was to reshape an ending that generations of readers already knew. Instead of repeating history, she created a version where optimism replaced heartbreak. That choice gave the song an uplifting spirit that appealed to listeners of all ages. Another important element was the melody. The music needed to match the emotional journey of the lyrics. Gentle verses gradually built toward an energetic chorus, allowing the song to feel both intimate and grand. This contrast created excitement without losing the emotional connection established at the beginning. As recording sessions began, producers worked closely with Taylor to preserve the song's storytelling quality. Every instrument supported the narrative rather than distracting from it. Acoustic guitar, steady rhythms, and carefully layered production created a sound that felt both contemporary and timeless. The finished recording reflected Taylor's growing confidence as both a songwriter and performer. She wasn't simply singing words on a page. She was sharing a story that combined personal inspiration, literary imagination, and universal hope. When the song was finally released, audiences responded almost immediately. Fans embraced its memorable melody, heartfelt lyrics, and optimistic message. Many listeners recognized pieces of their own lives within the story, even if their experiences were very different from Taylor's original inspiration. The song quickly expanded beyond country music audiences. Radio stations across multiple formats began playing it regularly, introducing Taylor to listeners who had never heard her earlier work. The crossover success demonstrated that genuine storytelling could reach people regardless of musical genre. As the months passed, Love Story became more than just another hit single. It evolved into a defining moment in Taylor Swift's career. Concert crowds enthusiastically sang every lyric, transforming performances into shared experiences between the artist and her fans. Critics also noticed how effectively the song blended traditional storytelling with modern songwriting. Rather than relying on complicated production or elaborate effects, its greatest strength remained the emotional honesty at its core. Looking back, it's remarkable how one personal experience inspired a song that would resonate with millions of people around the world. By combining real emotions with a classic literary reference and an uplifting conclusion, Taylor created something that felt both familiar and refreshingly original. Yet the journey of Love Story was only beginning. Behind the scenes, important decisions about its production, music video, performances, and worldwide promotion would soon shape its place in music history. Those next chapters would reveal how one heartfelt song transformed into an international cultural phenomenon. The success of Love Story did not happen by chance. After the song was completed, Taylor Swift and her team understood that they had something special. The melody was memorable, the lyrics were easy to connect with, and the story had the potential to reach audiences far beyond country music. But turning a great song into a worldwide phenomenon required careful planning, creative vision, and countless hours of hard work behind the scenes. As recording sessions came to an end, Taylor listened closely to every version of the track. She believed that every instrument should support the story rather than overpower it. Small adjustments were made to the arrangement until the balance felt just right. The acoustic guitar remained at the heart of the song, while additional instruments gradually built excitement as the story unfolded. Taylor had always believed that music should create pictures in the listener's mind. Because Love Story was inspired by a fairy tale, she wanted fans to imagine castles, gardens, elegant dresses, and secret meetings. Even before a music video was planned, those images were already part of the song's identity. Soon, discussions began about how to bring the story to life on screen. Rather than creating a modern setting, Taylor wanted the video to reflect the timeless feeling found in the lyrics. She imagined grand estates, beautiful landscapes, and classic fashion that would transport viewers into another world while still allowing them to relate to the emotions of the characters. Finding the right location became an important part of the process. The team searched for places that looked elegant, peaceful, and filled with history. Every hallway, staircase, and garden had to feel like it belonged in a romantic fairy tale. The goal was not simply to create beautiful scenery but to make every frame support the story told in the song. Costume designers also played an important role. Taylor's dresses were carefully chosen to match the atmosphere of the video. Flowing gowns, detailed fabrics, and classic styles helped create a timeless appearance without distracting from the emotions of the performance. The clothing became another storytelling tool rather than just decoration. Casting the male lead required careful consideration as well. The chemistry between the two characters needed to feel genuine even without lengthy dialogue. Since the music carried the emotional weight of the story, expressions, body language, and simple moments of eye contact became incredibly important. Every scene was designed to communicate hope, longing, and determination. During filming, Taylor paid close attention to the details. She understood that fans often notice the smallest elements in a music video. A glance across a crowded room, a slow walk through a garden, or a quiet smile could communicate feelings more effectively than words. Those subtle moments gave the video an emotional depth that matched the lyrics. Unlike many music videos of the time, Love Story focused on storytelling instead of flashy visual effects. There were no unnecessary distractions. The emphasis remained on the emotional journey between two people trying to find their way back to each other. This decision helped the video remain timeless even as trends in music videos continued to change. When editing began, every scene was arranged to mirror the progression of the song. The opening established the world, the verses introduced conflict, and the chorus delivered hope. By the final moments, viewers felt as though they had experienced an entire romantic film in just a few minutes. As the release date approached, excitement inside Taylor's team continued to grow. Early reactions suggested that listeners connected with the song almost immediately. Industry professionals recognized its crossover potential because it combined country storytelling with pop melodies that appealed to a much broader audience. Radio stations began adding the song to their playlists. At first, the response was encouraging. Then it became extraordinary. Requests from listeners increased rapidly, and stations started playing the song more frequently. The momentum continued to build week after week. Fans quickly embraced not only the music but also the hopeful message behind it. Many young listeners saw pieces of their own lives reflected in the story. Whether they had experienced family disagreements, long-distance relationships, or simple teenage uncertainty, they found comfort in the song's optimistic ending. Concert performances added another layer to the song's popularity. Every time Taylor performed Love Story, audiences sang along with incredible enthusiasm. What had started as one personal story was now shared by thousands of